Uh,
Yeah.
can you again tell meaning of Adi Devik and Adi Bhautik?
Okay, just a minute. Let me just complete this other thing, what Gauri was saying. So, Gauri, you can, if desire, because, we are very influenced by Buddhist thought. So, all desire has been classified as bad. You can call it wish. So, it was God's wish that, yes, now I should make the universe. And why is it said uh, Adhi Samavartata? It had a single focus. He just said, now is the time I have to create the universe. He had only that one. It's 12:11 p.m. He had just that one single desire, single wish. Let me call it wish. Okay, now coming to Ahan's query. So, Ahan, there are four types of subjects which exist. So, you have Adi Bhautik, which means related to other beings. So, this is typically in relation to yourself, that how you interact, or the mantra can be about other beings. Then it is Adi Devik, which is related to nature, and then it is Adhyatmik, which is related to my body, my mind, and myself, that is the soul, and God. So that is Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik, Adhyatmik. Then also Adi Yajnik, that means about how to perform Agnihotra. These are four subjects which are the broad classification of subjects in the Vedas. Is that clear?
Yes. So again when the souls have to come into life and inhabit a body, then so there should be a proper environment also for them to live. Like you need to have a planet or
Sure.
orbiting star.
Definitely.
So by that time the universe would be already like some billions of years old,
Yeah.
and all the souls will be floating around. So so then wouldn't it be like then some combination of atoms would come in which or some combination of matter in which the soul can inhabit, and that would be like maybe the first bacteria, and then slowly with mutations and generations it branches off into other species,
Right.
and that makes life. So isn't it like that?
It is. It is. So here now two parallel subjects are being talked about together. So obviously they both of them cannot be happening at the same time. So while at on the one level the mantra is covering sequentially from the Big Bang, the creation of the particles. On the other hand, it has now gone off into the creation of beings itself. So it has jumped one level, if you like. The whole creation of the universe is continuing parallelly along, and one has gone on to the creation of the beings. So this is why I had kept one saying for you guys in the for the seventh mantra, but let me bring it up here. So in Vaisheshik Darshanam, it has been said that because the Vedas for in this way, like what Ahan has brought out, it sometimes seems that it is a nonsensical way of expressing things. And why is one on the one hand you are talking still of the primordial particles, and on the other you have jumped to beings being present. So what kind of description is this? So Vaisheshik says that Buddhi Purva Vakya Kritir Vede, that the words which are there in the Vedas, the sentences which are there, this is written with buddhi, with intelligence. So they are not unintelligent. So firstly, remove this doubt from your head that it is an unintelligent saying. Also, what it implies is that actually you require a lot of intelligence to comprehend it. So you have to be able to understand both the meanings simultaneously, and they are going to continue parallelly as well. And you have to understand that there are gaps in between. This is not a detailed textbook telling you how exactly creation occurred. it is giving you pointers. After that, the Vedas always leave it to humans to discover it themselves. So, just like the decimal system is mentioned in the Vedas, after that, mathematics is not covered. It is given you one springboard, and it is told you use the decimal system, use the power of 10, that will take you forward. After that, it leaves you. So, here it is kind of introducing you to how this Brahman was there before the Brahman was there before the Big Bang, then how the Big Bang created the Brahman, how, and it tells you that it is just, I'm giving you an indication. You will never be able to know fully. Okay, so you have to handle both these things together.
But in the case where the life comes, isn't it? There's no desire involved. It just happens.
Yeah, so see, nothing happens without a cause. Agreed?
Yes.
So if I have to move a pencil from here to here, okay, it will not happen without a cause. Even if it has to slip down some slope, it is the slope and the gravity which are the causes in that action, right? So nothing happens without a cause. So now the question arises, how has this universe got created? What is the cause? What is the reason that this universe came into effect? Was there any point at all? You might have yourself wondered, or you might have heard other people wondering that if finally we have to attain moksha only, then why does God connect us to a body at all? There is no reason for Him to connect us to a body at all. So that same question is now being answered over here, that souls intrinsically have a desire to consume material pleasures. And because they have this desire to consume material pleasures, that is why they are associated with bodies in order to be able to enjoy that pleasure. Without the bodies, they cannot interact with matter at all. It is with this piece of matter which is available to us that we are able to interact with matter, and that connection which is put in our brains allows us to feel as if whatever the body is feeling, we are feeling. That allows us to enjoy matter as it is. So this desire for consumption exists in the soul over each birth. And so, when in one cycle of creation, at the end of it, when pralaya comes, when the Brahman has to end now, and pralaya happens, whatever was the states, whatever were the states of the souls at that point in time, it freezes at that point, and everything goes into a sleeping state, into a stupor. Then the next cycle, then they go through this period of pralaya, which is the same as the period of Srishti, as we saw last time. So when now Srishti restarts with this Big Bang, and the whole situation is now conducive for beings to come on planets, as you were mentioning, then whatever the state of the soul was in the previous Brahman, that same state now is, they wake up with that state, you can say. So that is that desire which was left over in them in the previous universe is now the one which is responsible for the generation of this universe, where again now they can fulfill those desires.
So our accounts are stored even beyond the Laya itself.
Correct. Very true.
That's because even the cellular organism also has soul in it, right? Even amoeba or whatever, everything has a soul in it.
Yes.
Upon where they were off in the previous birth, probably they start again with either an amoeba or protozoa or porifera or a human, whatever.
Or COVID-19.
So there is no data loss at all. between the
Exactly.
two cycles.
So, like you said, so those who have already achieved moksha could be the sages and the seers who come in the beginning to bring us the knowledge.
Yes, correct.
But at some time, no, first beginning, sometime it has started. No, even when we draw a circle, we start from a point. That point we have to know, no, where is that exactly point? Where we none of us had any desire. We were not born. We didn't have the body or anything like that. Don't you think so? Some point where the really the universe and everything started.
So this
Nobody
is,
knows.
there are some things which are beyond our comprehension. For example, if you take a line, the first thing you will study in mathematics when you start studying infinities is types of infinities. So it takes a great mental effort on the students' part to firstly get over the fact, infinity by itself is so difficult to handle. And then you are told that there are actually multiple types of infinities. So you are told that the infinity of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is, it can continue either side, and 0, -1, -2, -3. This is an infinity which is a smaller infinity than the one which exists between 0 and 1. So between 0 and 1, you have 0.1, then you have 0.01, then you have 0.001, then you have 0.0001. So, that is something which is so difficult to comprehend when we start studying infinity. So now this is a fourth type of infinity, if you like, which is a cyclical infinity, in which there is really no beginning. So the wheel is presented to you as is. So there is no creation of the wheel from a certain point and you go around the cycle, and that is the first cycle. There is none such. It is an infinity. So there have been infinite cycles before, and there are infinite cycles which are yet to come. And there was never a real beginning, and there will never be an end. So this is such an infinity. We have to just accept it. There is nothing I can say logical about it.
Yeah. Going to Srividya saying, does God have desires? Can't we interpret that as an intent, not a desire? God has the intent.
Correct. That is what I'm saying. It is a wish. You call it wish, intent, anything but desire. Since desire is a very loaded word, so karma is actually the direct literal translation is desire. And if you really think about it, intent is also desire, wish is also desire. However, we understand desire as something negative. So sure, you can call it whatever you like as long as it's not negative.
So basically God creates the universe for the human beings, the jivas, to fulfill their desires.
Not human beings.
All jivas.
Ours.
All
jivas.
All jivas, and for human beings.
Jivatmas too.
Yeah. So Apavarg and Nishreyas. So Apavarg is your this normal life, normal consumption of normal pleasures, and Nishreyas is moksha. So for all other jivas, it is just Apavarg. But for humans, there is another goal which gets added, and that is Nishreyas. That is moksha. So for humans, it is a little more special. All right.
Little more responsible.
Little more responsibility. Very true.
Uttaraji, isn't Apavarg itself means moksha?
Yeah.
I thought bhog is consumption and Apavarg is moksha.
I may be wrong here.
Probably which is not Shreya for you, which is bhog, I'm assuming. And
anyway, what she meant was, without going into word technicalities, for them the cycle cannot be exited, and for us there is a kind of a slightly outer exit, but not
Yes.
eventual complete exit. Yeah. Even
Correct,
moksha,
correct, correct.
she says, is temporary, but it is very long term.
Yeah, yeah. I'll get back on the terms. I think I'm forgetting the one. I may be wrong about this upper work. You may be right. Okay, so let me. Shall we move on to the next one?
Uttaraji, you have not sent the commentary, no? Up to the second one also half you have sent
Bhagini, it
it.
automatically updates. The link is same. You just have to click the same
I've
link,
not got
open.
it. That's why. No, I didn't get it.
Oh, in the WhatsApp, it is lying there in the WhatsApp group. The link.
I'm not good at that's what I did. Told Uttaraji also
I
that
thought
I'm
I
not
sent
good
you
at
after the
We
second
will
class.
re-forward on WhatsApp. We'll re-forward on WhatsApp. Look
No,
up.
no, she wants on mail.
No, don't send it. Please send it on the email. Please, please.
Okay, okay. I thought I sent you after the second class. Must be after the first I
Yeah,
sent.
second and
No,
this is the
somebody
third.
has to
Please
show
send
her
it
how
on
to
the
use
email.
web.whatsapp.com. There is a portal called web.whatsapp.com. Please visit that on your computer, keeping the WhatsApp connected to internet and open on your phone. Then you will automatically very easily know how to link that your laptop or your computer with the mobile. Okay, it's very easy. It is very essential.
Yeah, sure. Very easy for you. I know that thing. I'm not denying that thing. For me, no.
Bhagini, you are studying about Apavarga. What is all this Varga?
See, for you also, Gauri, the taking the printout, no, is a bigger issue.
Yeah,
If
correct.
you study on your computer only, it is good for you. So every
think
time,
so.
otherwise,
Please send it on me email. Yeah. You send it on email, that's the best thing for me. I'll
no,
be
if
really
you're studying
appreciative.
on the computer, if you don't need a hard copy, you can just click on that link and you will be shown everything. In that directory, there is more stuff. Like this picture is lying over there. Then that of the beginning of the universe is lying. So you can look at all those things. In fact, I have shared now the origin of the universe as we studied in Sankhya
No,
as
those
well.
things I already printed it out.
So then you
Yeah,
can
those
print out
things I printed out.
then you can print out this as
No,
well.
because you sent it in the email.
No, but it is lying in that same directory. So you can print out that as well if you wish.
Okay, I will try. If I'm not able to, I'll just bother you again. Please send
Yeah,
it.
if you
Please
could
send
print
it.
out all this, then I don't see why you should have a problem because that is a Google document only.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try it out.
Yeah. Okay. So,
So
next.
because I didn't get the second and this is the third class.
Yeah. So next verse. Please unmute yourself and repeat after me. Tirashchino vitatorashmiresham.
Tirashchino vitato rashmiresham.
Adha svidasid upari svidasid.
Adha svidasidupari svidasit.
Retodhasan mahimanasan.
Reto-dasan mahimanasan.
Swadhavastat prayatihi parastat.
Twadavastat prayatihi parastat.
Okay, so remember the first meaning. That was the Adi Devik meaning about the natural particles. So actually, I also wanted to tell you this Retaha, which was talked about in modern terms. You remember I told you about the beginnings of the universe as per modern science. So in modern terms, it is said that first the particles which make up protons and neutrons, they emerged, and these are called gluons and quarks. So these gluons and quarks, they emerged first, and then as the universe was expanding, even though the expansion of the universe dramatically came down after that first inflation, but still the universe was expanding and the temperature was coming down. So as the temperature came down, these gluons and quarks could come together and form protons and neutrons. So this Retaha would refer to both those gluons and quarks as well as protons and neutrons. However, remember that this is my interpretation and interconnection, I should say, and it has not been connected by others. So please take with a sackful of salt. So here now we proceed into the next part of that.
You should say with a sack full of neutrons.
Okay. So Tirashchinaha vitataha rashmihi esha. The light from these, it spread laterally. Adaha svidasit, upari svidasit. It was there below also. It spread to the bottom regions, whichever you want to call bottom, and it spread in the other direction as well, which basically means it spread in all directions. Retodha asan, mahimana asan. These the next particles which were throwing out this light were the ones which held this wraith, which we saw in the previous verse. That wraith is now being held in these particles. That means these particles are made of that wraith, the primordial particles. Mahimana asam. So that Mahat which had got created in the verse before that, that Mahina Ajayata, that there were some particles which had that Mahat as well. So it's kind of indicating that there were two types of particles which were there, those which contained this Reta and those which had that Mahat. So this Reta, okay, let me continue and complete this. Swadha avastat prayatihi parastat. Swadha, these particles now are able to exist on their own. Swadha, dha, dharane. So they are able to exist on their own. So they occur first, avastat, prayatihi parastat. The forces which control them, they came. So you might have heard of this boson particle, the Higgs boson, which creates the gravitational force. And this was told by one scientist by the name of Higgs, who still exists. And he postulated that there has to be this boson. Boson name is from Jagdish Chandra Bose. No, S.N. Bose. He said that these particles are have certain properties, and therefore those particles are now called bosons. So those, he said there would be at the beginning one boson which gives matter mass, and this gravitational attraction, which is how you determine mass. So that has been discovered of late. So this is, something similar what is being said here, that particles came first, and the forces which came out of these particles, they came after those particles. Okay, so here I want to now go back on this Retodha. So these in modern science, the way they are saying is that once the neutrons and protons had formed, initially there was just this kind of a jelly, this soup which was there, which was still very dense, and no atoms could form at that point because it was so dense. Just like you might know, even in the sun, there are no atoms. There are only nuclei which are lying over there because it's a very dense, compacted matter. So as the universe again cooled down further, then atoms started forming. So electrons formed, and these protons and neutrons, they got together in a nucleus and they captured electrons, and these electrons started spinning around the nuclei. The consequence of the formation of atoms was that now as the universe cooled further, the electrons which had come in at a higher state because of the temperature being high, now they were able to come down to their ground state. They were able to drop their energy, and that energy was transmitted as photons. So you had this universe which was full of photons. Let me bring you back to that universe picture. So here, in this phase, this dark phase which exists between this and this, there was a phase in which modern science is theorizing that these these photons were being generated, and still matter was so dense that they were hitting into each other and with other atoms. So it was not really escaping. So it was called the dark age, in which photons were flying around all over, and it was here, see, this is called the dark age. It was full of light per se, because there were photons all over, but it was not escaping. This is in contrast to this time when this microwave radiation was generated at this point, which we can still see. But in between, there is this phase in which this radiation existed in such large quantities, yet it was not, it has not remained since then, because it was absorbed by the atoms or interacted with each other and created other particles. So you see, you can again over here see echoes of that. We can kind of now, where is the share screen gone?
Vibration of these casual causal potentials of divine extend in time and space.
Huh? Oh, we are coming to the end. Okay. So Tirashchina, so this is the light which seems to match up over here. But that light which they're saying, that photon sensitive thing, that same thing now is here. It's talking about this light phase where there is immense amount of radiation which existed. Okay. And Retodha, these are now the Paramanu, the atoms which have come into being. And the extra which we are seeing is this Mahimanu. So this Mahat which was created, that has not got fully dissolved, and that also is existing in some state. And it will become the Buddhi which gets attached to the souls. Whether it exists outside as dark matter, dark energy, we are only conjecturing. We cannot say, because nobody else is saying. If the Vedas had said or Sankhya had said, then we could say confidently. However, what it is, the Vedas are saying that there is something which is made of Mahat as well. Okay, then this Swada, these things now, this Retodha and Mahimana, this particles which contained protons, neutrons, and electrons, and these particles which contain Mahat, these are now Swada. They can hold themselves. They don't need anybody else to exist. However, they lead to now the forces of nature, your electrical forces, those four forces are there. Weak nuclear force, strong nuclear force, gravitational, and electrical. So those forces now start coming into existence as the universe is growing and it is cooling. Okay, so I won't go beyond this now. Do you have any questions? We will cover the other meaning, the second meaning, that is the Adhyatmic meaning, next time. Yes, go ahead.
They say that the Satchitanand and Atma and all the matter, they were never created, they can't be destroyed, they just exist and will always exist and always existed. So but like why do these three exist? Why do the souls exist? Just how come, why they exist? Like, it's very randomly chosen, it seems. There's no reason. So why?
So when you start asking why, then there is a limit to which you can ask why. So when if I ask you, why do you like jalebi, presuming you like jalebi, then can you give me an answer?
Maybe no.
Okay, suppose you can say because it is sweet. So then I can ask you, why do you like sweet? So now do you have an answer?
Because the brain.
So now I can ask you, why does the brain respond to sweet in the way it does?
Because it's evolved like that.
So why has it evolved like that?
Because it was like selected to
Why?
evolve.
What was the selection criteria?
So it could survive more easily with the human.
So, but you need proteins also, no, for survival. You cannot survive on jalebi. So you can say that it is an energy-rich food, and therefore, because it gives more available energy, that is why it is preferred. I'm not sure how much that is correct, but suppose we give that answer, then we can again ask, and like that we can keep asking till you will reach a point that you will say, no, this is how it is. It is an energy rich food. The body is designed in a way that it is able to take energy out of this out of glucose faster than a carbohydrate. Okay, that is it. You cannot ask, why has the body design, why is it designed in such a way that it should do glucose better, digestion of glucose faster than carbohydrate. It is like that. That's it. That's a fact of life. So when we ask questions, we can ask why up to a certain point, after which it stops. So there are answers up to a certain level. After that, there are no answers. That is how it is. It is a fact. It is agreed. You can ask, why are my parents these two people? There is no answer to that. They are those two people. That's it. So similarly, when you keep on asking, that you reach a point in this whole thing where there is no answer. This is the way it is. There are these three entities: God, matter, and souls. This is the nature of the interaction between the three of them. This matter is being used by the soul, and soul is also interacting with God. God is doing something to matter in order to make it consumable by the soul, and the soul makes good with whatever God gives. So, this is the way that the universe is, this is the way life is, this is the way that we are. So, there is no why in that. This is the ultimate reality, ultimate fact.
But it seems very strange.
No, there's nothing strange about it. You can always dig up to a certain point beyond which there is no digging. If you start digging the planet Earth, you will dig till the center. And that's it. Okay, you can dig maybe and go on to the other side. Beyond that, there is no digging. You always have to come to an end in any process where you say, okay, this is it. This, I have to accept it as a fact which has no explanation. So, for example, in maths, I don't know if you have started studying geometry, but in geometry, very clearly, we start with axioms that two parallel lines never meet. You can extend them to infinity, but they never meet. So, there is now no why in that. It is understood, and that is why it is called axiom. So, same thing you have to understand here, that this is how it is. These are two parallel lines, they never meet. Similarly, there are these three things, this is how they interact. So you can now look at their interactions and question and understand how and why they interact in this particular fashion. But why there are these three entities, why they come together, why they behave in this fashion, beyond a point you cannot question that.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. So shall we quickly say our prayer again? Om Swayam Vajinstanvam Kalpayasvam.
Om Swayam Vajintasvan Kalpayasva.
Swayam Yajasva Swayam Jushasva.
Swayam Yajasva Swayam
Swayam
Jushasva.
Jushasva.
Mahimate Nyena Nasannashe.
Mahimatenena
Nena
Nasannashe.
Nasannashe.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dhanyavadah.
Dhanyavada.
Thank you, Guru.
Welcome.
धन्यवाद.
Swagatam. Swagatam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
When our son was growing up and he asked too many questions, we would say that's how God made it.
God is the what you call 1-point solution for everything.
And we do that with Ahan's questions now. It's so sweet.
We cannot ask questions to him.
Oh,